Well, hello there. This is Shiva. I'm the developer of the fpxEngine, and I'm just doing this video to show you that I am, in fact, going to be doing the version 1.5 of fpxEngine. And boy, oh boy, there is a lot of changes are coming. Let's put it that way. Well, first off, hope everybody had a happy Turkey Day and pigged out on the Black Friday sales. I got myself a new keyboard. The girlfriend got herself, she just went wild. We got a TV stand and a mixer, and she got a new monitor. Oh yeah, I also got a new set of headphones for my stereo system. In case you're wondering, I went with Hi-Fi Man. These are the Sonata headphones, closed back version, because, you know, I've got a kid, so I don't want to particularly hear him. So yeah, things are so it was a pretty decent Black Friday. As to fpxEngine, as I said, we got a whole bunch of changes, and let's if you've been paying attention, you already know a couple of them. But the first and foremost is the lighting now. Instead of the stock FP, is now models. I had to use the real depth light set. I had asked for the set that was used for VPX and was converted over to FP, but nobody gave them to me. So, well, we're using this set. And one of the nice things about it is that you can change it. With FP. If they were custom shape, you had to change the shapes every time, but now you don't need to. As you can see, this is the round light, but if we want to change it to, say, an owl, there you go. That's all you need to do, other than rotate it. So that's one of the first. That's one of the first big changes that you will definitely notice. You also see that everything is a little bit more complete. This will be the sample table, the first of what is many sample tables. But the other big change I'm pretty sure you can see right now, if you're familiar with BAM and Future Pinball, is that we'll be using fizX system, which is done by JLu. This is the physics system. I just downloaded the latest version of just giving this a go. Before I wasn't using it, but it's certainly come quite a way since I last had a real good look at it. So I've decided to use that, and that also includes the flippers. Though I may quibble a little bit with the physics with the flippers, they're still pretty good. There's just some odd things with this that just, you know, real pinball machines don't really do. And then of course there's some additional stuff that's going on here. Some of my more custom coding, like my plum tilt system is in place. Now I know that fizX does have a tilt system, but mine is actually a mechanical tilt system, and it was based exactly on how the real pinball machines do it. So I may end up just using my system, or, you know, I may end up just doing fizX, but that's something that I've been throwing in. There are also quite a few other changes, little changes. For instance, I've been doing a whole bunch of graphics for this. If you notice, I put numbers on things now. So as you can tell, and I even put little text on stuff. I've got a rack load of stuff. And I can always do more if anybody really needed them. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, as well, you'll see a lot more new textures for your pinball machine. There's going to be a whole bunch of new models, and there's already some new audio sounds and mechanical sounds. And I'll be doing a complete overhaul of the audio system down the road. So hopefully we'll have things like multiple background sounds, music files, and maybe a jukebox. There's also a couple of other things that are going to be happening, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm not promising. But yeah, this is going to be a very significant update. From the person using this, there is going to be a rather significant change, and that's in the scripting. So let's just call up the scripting here. Let's go all the way up to the top. And we'll just go over this very, very quickly. I'm going to be simplifying the scripting, not just from your end, but also from mine, because literally this thing could end up in the tens of thousands of lines of code. And I can already see a big problem with, for me trying to keep track of everything. So I've been working very hard on making some changes to make this as easy as possible for both you and I. One of the big things you'll see is that in the user customization, we now have the bulb lights going on here, as opposed to individual settings, because I just kind of felt that people might want to change them. So this is a very easy way to change them. There is also a problem that I have with the glow radius. So in other words, if I have too many objects, the lights don't work very well. If I have too many objects using the glow, and that's the glow radius. I think it's a bug in FP. I'm not, or it's a bug in BAM, but whatever happens, I just can't use the glow radius all that much anymore, which is a shame. Ignore that. That's for the future. Anyway, but as you can see, all the settings are still in there. I should mention that way down the road, whenever I feel brave enough, I'm going to work on a menu system that will allow me to change variables using a menu, or you be given the ability to change variables. I may have worked, there's limitations with the amount with Future Pinball, but I have sort of dreamed up a way on which you can quite literally have hundreds, if not thousands, of variables that you can change using the save and load built-in feature into FP. I'm just trying to, working it out in my mind exactly how I'm going to do it, and if I'm even capable of doing it. But yeah, that's something that's kind of badly needed. That means you'll be able to change all of these variables, all of the fizX variables if JLU decides to support it, pin settings, everything. So yeah, that would be quite nice to have, wouldn't it? So we're going to start coming off to the big change for you for the bolt. A lot of people that will be using this are either very beginning coders or people who don't code at all. And the bolt items, if you don't know what a bolt item is, I'll just explain this briefly. They're basically presets, sections. For instance, that thing right there, this is actually a separate file. It's a bolt file. And what you do is you open up the file, you copy contents, you copy the file into and just paste it in, and you paste the trigger script. In, and then it will just work, right? So everything is made up of separate bolt files. Like this is one section here, and then this section right here, this is another one, and this section for the the kicker, and the center is here too as well. This is a bolt file too. This is a separate bolt file, so you can just sort of mix and match. In fact, this entire table design is nothing but bolt items, just individual. There's about 10 of them in total. So, but I realized that the scripting was just a little bit too overwhelming for most beginners. So I have been doing some simplifying of the bolts. In fact, I'm going to rewrite all of the bolt files before I release 1.5. So one of the biggest changes is the basic object scoring and functions. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting basic scoring for each major object in Future Pinball. Like this here, this is the bumpers right here. So all of the bumpers will, no matter what you're using, will have the same score, and you can just set them. For instance, with the bumpers, if the light is turned off on a bumper, it will score 100 points, and you can just change it if you want to. And with the light on, it will score 500 points, right? And over here with the targets, if you hit a target, 1,000 points. If you hit a stand-up target, you get 5,000 points if the light is actually turned on already. And if it's blinking, I got this set to 1,000 because this particular vault item you don't need to score anything more than that. And then, of course, I'm just working on the spinners right now. So all of the bolt items will now just use this section for basic scoring. You have sections for drop targets, the captive ball. You have another one for kickers and stuff like that. So you can set your basic scoring here from now on as opposed to the script. And that means that the scripts are a lot shorter. And I'll show you right now. These are the new scripts for the bolts that I have done. So for instance, when you copy the script from the bolt file into the fpx template to be able to use that object, for instance, this is just the bumpers. Now, everything else is hidden from the beginners because I know that coding can be very, very daunting, and you know, it's kind of scary just to look at some if it's too much and too complex. So by doing it this way, it makes things so much easier. These are just trigger codes, by the way. If V spinner 1, FPX 1 on, that's for me. Don't worry about why I named it like that. I did it that way so I can keep track of things. But this is just for the spinner. And as you can see, the basic scoring will be up here. But for the bumpers, and the one I just showed you before, there's your basic scoring right there. And then the most complex one so far is this one, the free bank targets. And most of this is just for the initial pin settings that you can hold. For instance, this tells you where to start with the banks. This will give you memory, the memory feature, whether you want to turn it on and off. And this will tell you whether you want the lights to be blinking or just turned off at the start of the game. And that's all it really is. And then this section is the additional scoring. And this is how many, gives you a special score every time you complete the bank. And for instance, this will be 5,000. This is 10,000. This is 10,000. This is 15,000. And then this code just resets back to 5,000. And if you also notice down here, this, the center targets will relight the ball saber for you. But to change it is actually simple, because all of the scoring from now on is going to be using the add scoring event. And then in between the quotation marks, which is one right there, and then one right here, is you tell it what to do, and there will all be presets. So for instance, if you want to say change the 15,000 to an extra ball, in ads, with that you will type extra ball, and suddenly it becomes an extra ball instead of 15,000. That's all the scoring that you have to do. That's pretty much the only typing that you have to do. And if you mess up, well, you just press undo. You're back to 15,000. And if you remember, the add scoring event has things like extra ball. You can do specials. There's a mystery feature, which is a random score. Sort of if you're familiar with Black Knight, your multi-ball will be set through that. Your spinners will be set through that. Your kickers will be set through that. Every bolt item will all be, from now on, add scoring event. And that's pretty much all that you're going to be seeing in your bolt item. And you can't get any easier than that. And then, of course, as an example, here is an older version. This is the version that I've been using before. And as you can see, it's a lot more work. And this isn't even a very complex one. But as you can see, all of the code here, you no longer need to put in the hit events or anything else like that, because it's all going to be just folded into the engine. But as you can see, the scoring is there and then there. And captive ball is another prime example where we're starting to get into very complicated coding. So, and that's all the way down here. And then, of course, we got drop target banks and all sorts of stuff. But as you can see, we're starting to get into more and more complex coding. And a lot of this that you're seeing, like this one here, you're only seeing a portion of it. There's actually more script way down there, away from, so that you don't accidentally change something and mess up your engine. But from now on, I think this is pretty much the way that we're going to go with this. In case you're wondering about scripting, Yeah, all of this. And that means comes to my next big announcement, probably starting with 1.5. Not only are there going to be a whole rackload of changes made to fpxEngine, but one of the biggest ones is that we're going to be using external files as opposed to all of the script in one place. So that should really help people out a lot, because it means that from your point of view, it'll be easy to update. So if I add things to more scoring events, for instance, like that, you can pretty much just update the script and then you can use them for your table. And from my point of view, I'm sort of starting to pull out my hair, just trying to keep track of this huge amount of code. We're into the vote section now, by the way. But as you can see, it's just... Yeah. So you can understand why I wanted to do that. Let's end this video by playing a couple of balls here. Just to let you know what it is that you can actually do. Yeah, I'm sorry. As I'm using fizX, I'm using Terry Red's AOI script. And, you know, there's a couple things, as I said before. One of the things is he's got things a little bit too loud. So, but if you notice, there's ball rolling sounds now. There's hit advance. You get sounds when the ball strikes an object and everything else, as well as all of the nice physics. And you also have support for other features like DOF and I guess a couple of other higher end features. I've put the support in there, but it's just the basic one. If you kind of need the hardware for it and everything else like that. So it's in place, but you would probably have to do the coding for that yourself. I don't have any of this stuff, so but it's in there. So anyway, so
fpx.
And you get to see the new physics. You get to see how the lighting works, as you can see. Ah! Well, as you can see, it plays pretty good. There are some settings that I still have to work out, things like the diverters here. I'm using the diverter method. I'm not too sure if I'm keeping that because it's kind of mishit sometimes. But for instance, I do have some, but as you can see, it plays quite well. For instance, the spinners, I'm using Rhinox spinner method, and it has kind of hung up on me a couple of times, so I may have to have a look at that. Maybe there's something in there. But as you can hear, if you listen very closely, you will be able to hear the new ball hitting sounds and the ball rolling sounds and everything else. Oh, see, it happened again. I'm going to try a tilt. I haven't actually tested the tilt systems because there's 2 tilt systems in here right now. No, it's not moving that. Okay. I have to ask about that. Ah! Hey, I must have got the extra ball for some reason. Cool. Oh, that's right, because I changed it. Yeah, anyway. There's going to be a whole bunch of upcoming things in here that I haven't really talked about. With 1.5, expect a lot of changes, especially I intend to upgrade the audio system. I'm hopefully going to have multiple music backgrounds. And also maybe a jukebox feature. You never know. That's definitely planned. There is going to be, as I said, a new menu system being put into place. We're going to start adding a lot more models. Those will be library files. In other words, external. The system will be changed that. So again, you'll be able to update models and everything else like that. Same with textures, same with sound. There will also be, hopefully, once I get the structure all squared away, I can start adding new bolt items. So there's going to be new features. There will be scoop kickers. There will be ramps in here. The multi-ball system, it's actually right here. That's actually the multi-ball system. But that will be done up. I'm going to be doing more sample tables as I do new bolts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build new sample tables using some of the newer bolts. There will be a whole bunch of stuff. So expect a very, very, very huge update. So I've decided that instead of calling it 1.44, it's going to be just 1.5 because it kind of deserves to be called 1.5 by the time I'm done. As it is already, you can see a huge amount of changes have already been in place. At the moment, I'm rewriting the bolts scripts so that it's a lot simpler for people to use. I mean, that's just this is just a lot simpler than before. The original spinner code was just like massive. It was like well over 250 lines. Now it's just been down to just, well, one line plus. So, you know, it's just a terrific, a terrific improvement on the system. I'll be playing around with the fizX statements. Unfortunately, Terry, when he did this, he sort of put things all over the damn place, and he used constants instead of dimension or dim statements for some of his variables. So kind of makes it very tough to change, but I'll get it all figured out. And of course, with fizX, there's a lot of little things that we're going to have to change. As I said before, I'm not a huge fan of the diverters as opposed to my original method, which was a 3-point system. While with the diverters, they shoot the ball too high, or they shoot the ball constantly higher and lower, but they don't play as much in the sling. So I'm going to have to play with that a little bit. And of course, the flippers seem to be a little spongy in places. But, you know, by the time you see 1.5, I should have a pretty good idea about how to change these physics, and I'll get to work on it. In the meanwhile, no release date yet. All right, this is an awful lot of work. So I think you can imagine just by looking at this is already hundreds, if not thousands of hours have already been put into this. It's going to be another couple of hundred hours of solid work on my part. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a major upgrade to the system. And if you saw a couple of things when I was showing the script, if you notice there's a couple of things in there that I haven't been mentioning because they might be for 1.6 and 1.7. You never know. In the meanwhile, well, I'm going to sign off now. And I hope you enjoyed watching this. Sorry if I'm a little fumble-mouthed. I usually am when I'm talking for some reason, when I'm recording. When I'm actually talking in real life, I'm not like that. But, you know, I'm just not used to doing this yet. Hope you all had a great Black Friday. I hope you've had a terrific day today. And I hope your day is even better tomorrow. In the meanwhile, my name is Shiva. I'm the developer of the fpxEngine, and just a quick update to just let you know that I'm actually still alive. In the meanwhile, have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye now.